Yuri Boyka was the most mysterious prisoner in this prison. He had to clean up the poop in the toilet. But when returning to the cell, he would fill the bucket with water, and exercised by lifting a bucket of water with his feet. He even practiced kicking in the sandbags that he made. Just like that, even the warden took good care of him. Knowing that he was working in the toilet, the warden said, "Tomorrow you will have a cleaner cell, and you'll get a leisurely job in the library." "No," he said. Unexpectedly, Boyka not only refused but also made a crazy request to the warden. He wanted to participate in a competition in prison. It turned out that Boyka was once the wrestling king of this prison. But in a match, because of carelessness, he lost. His knee was seriously injured by his opponent. Therefore, he lost his fighting spirit and became a toilet cleaner. However, at this time, he didn't want to continue to be depressed. He wanted to go back to fighting. Hearing that, the warden had to accept it. After that, Boyka began to silently observe 𝐀𝐃𝐄𝐒's match. 𝐀𝐃𝐄𝐒 was the strongest opponent in this prison. 𝐀𝐃𝐄𝐒's style of attack was extremely dangerous. Even if the opponent couldn't resist, he would still step on his opponents and cause them to be disabled. Back to the cell, Boyka worked hard to practice. He had to endure the pain of his old wound. He continuously practiced his moves every day. Until this day, the chance finally came. Boyka cut off his messy hair. When coming to the arena, he splashed water on 𝐀𝐃𝐄𝐒 at first, and was staring at him. Faced with such provocation, 𝐀𝐃𝐄𝐒 decided to fight. When the match just started, Boyka just defended to gradually adjust to the atmosphere of the match. But when finding an opportunity, he immediately punched 𝐀𝐃𝐄𝐒 in the throat. The pain caused 𝐀𝐃𝐄𝐒 to step back several times. After that, Boyka hit 𝐀𝐃𝐄𝐒 with a beautiful headbutt. This made 𝐀𝐃𝐄𝐒 vomit blood. He then rushed to kick 𝐀𝐃𝐄𝐒 out of the arena. Finally, the strongest fighter in this prison was killed by Boyka. After winning, Boyka was sent to another prison by the warden. They were 7 prisoners from different countries, and they were all warriors. It turned out there was a world fighting competition being held in this prison. Wardens of different countries could bring their best warriors to participate in the competition. If their warriors won, they could earn a lot of money. As long as the prisoner won the championship, he would be released. But soon, Boyka found out that the contest was a scam, because prisoners only had 1 hour to practice each day. At other times, they had to go to a quarry to work very hard. Just like that, the prisoners wouldn't have the strength to fight. However, there was a Colombian prisoner, who was still very well taken care of by the organizers here. While the others were working, the Colombian prisoner sat in the shade reading a book. So Boyka could only practice with a sandbag. The Colombian prisoner was trained with the others. From the start, the organizers placed a lot of bets on the Colombian prisoner, so they wanted him to win the championship. Not long after that, the first match also started. Boyka discovered that there was a very strong opponent named Turbo. From the start, Turbo was hit repeatedly by his opponent. But then he got used to the intensity of the match. He started provoking his opponent to attack while he pretended to be on the defensive. In fact, Turbo was attacking with his elbow, and he blocked every punch of his opponent. Finally, he used a super powerful punch that sent his opponent flying out of the stand. So Turbo won this match. With this calm fighting style, it was very difficult for Boyka to defeat Turbo. After that, it was Boyka's turn. As soon as he started, he used his feet to push back the opponent, and kicked repeatedly, then jumped up and hit the opponent on the head. After a series of combined moves, Boyka defeated the opponent. Boyka completely won the opponent and limped off the stand. In the final match, it was the Colombian prisoner's turn to compete. Raul was the most feared opponent in prison, also known as Death. Let's see how strong he was. When the opponent was continuously attacking him, he was also very calm, even turning around to interact with the audience. He completely ignored his opponent. Raul, 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 everyone was cheering for him. He calmly let his opponent attack first. He didn't hit back, like he was teasing his opponent. But then he started to counterattack. He pulled the opponent's hair and punched him hard. After that, he continuously attacked. He finally used a spin kick to knock down his opponent. Raul won easily. After the match, the prisoners who lost were taken to an empty field. The warders said someone would come pick them up, but actually shot them dead. After the first competition ended, the remaining victorious prisoners could still stay in this prison. At the construction site that day, Turbo came and repeatedly provoked Boyka. Seeing that, Boyka angrily punched him. But Turbo didn't get angry but burst out laughing. He rushed towards Boyka. Both of them got caught in the chain, and they started fighting. As a result, they were stopped by the warden, and was punished to be locked in a dark room. A few days later, Boyka had a chance to meet the warden named Gaga. He told Gaga all the injustices he endured. Hearing that, 𝐂𝐃𝐒 got angry and went to find the warden of this prison. The warden said that he had bet on Raul, so he had to make Boyka do hard labor. The warden seduced the 𝐂𝐃𝐒. You can make a lot of money from this. For the money, the warden immediately decided to cooperate with the organizer. In the next days, Boyka and Turbo were punished to do more hard work. Every day they were only allowed to eat porridge and not get any more bread. Both of them knew that they had been suppressed by this prison, and they gradually let go of their contradictions with each other. They also knew the organizers didn't let them practice. They only had to secretly do push-ups while working hard at the quarry. They tried their best to achieve the best training intensity. When throwing stones, they also had to throw in the opposite direction to increase the difficulty level. After practicing for a while, Boyka's leg injury recurred. Seeing that, Turbo picked some dandelions and silently gave it to Boyka to cover the wound. Not only did their willpower not decrease, but they focused on training even more. At this point, the warden was a bit worried. That day, the warden came to find Turbo. Without saying a word, he frantically hit Turbo. The next day, Boyka didn't see Turbo going to breakfast. When coming to the cell, he saw that Turbo was wounded all over his face. Turbo even felt pain when he sat up. However, his next opponent was Raul. This man was the fighting king in this prison named Raul. His advantage was his extremely high bounce. He also had weird moves that weren't in any order. Actually, this increased his flexibility when fighting. He was even able to lift weights, jump up and down. It was really hard for opponents to fight him. Meanwhile, Turbo had just been brutally tortured by the warden as a warning. At this time, he was so tired that he couldn't even raise his hand. Seeing that, Boyka couldn't take it anymore. He decided to help Turbo. At the quarry, while the warden went out, Boyka immediately used a hammer to smash the iron chain between him and Turbo. Unexpectedly, the hammer broke, but the iron chain still didn't break. At this time, the warden discovered that they wanted to escape. So he immediately called all the wardens to run over. Fortunately, they didn't have guns. Boyka easily defeated these people with one punch. He grabbed a warden, threw him away, and took the key from his belt. He helped Turbo unlock the chain's lock. After that, Turbo quickly ran up the hillside. When seeing a warden about to pull out his gun to shoot, Boyka hastily threw a stone, which caused him to fall. Seeing that Turbo had escaped, he breathed a sigh of relief. But a warden suddenly knocked him out from behind. When regaining consciousness, he was already in prison. The organizers still wanted the match to go on. So they decided to let Boyka replace Turbo to fight Raul. This warden also said that he had bet $5 million on Raul. This made Boyka extremely angry. And he was determined to win this match. The match also started. Raul used his great strengths to make Boyka unable to fight back. He jumped up to kick Boyka in the face, and gave a blow that made Boyka vomit blood. Raul even continued to beat Boyka. After that, Boyka got up to fight back, and wanted to give the opponent a spin kick. Unexpectedly, Raul grabbed Boyka's leg, and hit the wound on his knee. Boyka could only shout loudly and quickly kick his opponent out. He reluctantly stood up again. However, he was still brutally beaten by Raul. Finally, he fell to the floor. At this point, everyone thought Raul would be the winner. Boyka slowly got up, he saw a mop in front of him. And he remembered the hard time he spent cleaning at the toilet. Even remembered when others mocked him as the king of the toilet. Thinking of this, Boyka took the mop, and tied it to his knee. He returned to the match once more with a determined look in his eyes. He directly defeated Raul, and didn't let him fight back. He continuously unleashed powerful punches. He grabbed the opponent's hand and punched him to vomit blood. At this point, Boyka couldn't think of anything anymore. He suffered wounds on his body, and a wound on his knee, and all of which transformed into Boyka's strength. He repeatedly punched Raul's body. With a powerful knee strike, he directly kicked Raul's leg bone. Boyka finally defeated Raul. He angrily pointed at the warden, and then slowly left. After leaving the arena, the prison promised to release him. However, in reality, no one could survive to leave the prison. At this moment, the warden was preparing to raise his gun to kill Boyka. But suddenly someone shot that warden dead. The other wardens had also fallen down. It turned out that Turbo came to save Boyka. He hurriedly took Boyka to escape. There was a car outside waiting for them. It turned out it was the warden. He had bet Boyka on this match. The words that the warden said before was just to irritate Boyka. Because the warden knew that when Boyka was agitated, he could fight at his best. After that, Boyka got out of the car. He told Turbo his real name, and said his last goodbye. After that, he limped along the deserted road. He even laughed loudly and ran faster and faster. Because he finally got his freedom.